Good evening, park managers, and welcome back to the Dino Dales on Jurassic World Evolution 3. Honestly, I am really enjoying this park build. The aesthetic of it is meant to be like a real world zoo, as if not kind of like how Jurassic World was, but if there was a zoo actually looking after dinosaurs and giving them, fairly humane enclosures compared to what the Jurassic World one, as we've seen from the T-Rex enclosure. I can't believe how tiny that thing actually is. But yeah, we've got up to now 3 enclosures: our Lokiceratops, our Metrocanthosaurus, and our Protoceratops. Now, a few people have been asking me to make real world small enclosures, things for like the Taco, for the Compy, for the Moro, for the Microceratus. So I thought, you know what, we're going to have a stab at making a realistic looking small enclosure for the Moros intrepidus, as I really do like that fluffy little dinosaur. It's really cute, and I mean, to be honest, the size of Moros intrepidus is very small compared to the real life animal. The real life animal would have been about nearly double the height of a Labrador, like a standard Labrador. So they are fairly big, not as small as they are portrayed in Jurassic World and Jurassic World Evolution. However, I'm still going to keep, just imagine they did stay that small. And we're going to make them a nice big run for them to go out in, as well as a small little house for them to keep in. Now, I sort of experiment to what I actually wanted with this, how I wanted it to look. I had a rough mind in my head. There's a few little monkey enclosures, a few small bird enclosures that I had in my mind once I've seen in the real world. And I thought about combining them, the different aspects of them together, and I also combined it, I think it was for a serval, the enclosure that I'd seen as well at another zoo down south. I was like, you know what, we're gonna make them like a little bedding area as well that they can go and chill on, either a high area or a low area for them to rest on. As you see right now, I'm still doing the outdoor run, making it all like chainmail. Did the roof as well. With these being small, the idea is of the chain roof is not for them getting out. It's more like things of birds of prey getting in and deciding that they are going to be dinner. You can imagine a hawk flying over, seeing a very small Moros intrepidus, and as it's not like a meerkat who's trained and has that sort of psychology to know that birds could mean death, it's not it might run away, it might not, it might just sort of look at that and go, what's that, as it gets closer. So we need to protect them from birds of prey and, well, seagulls are you would not believe it, but seagulls will eat small animals like Moros intrepidus here, and I live on the coast, so I'm very used to seagulls. So yeah, you could call this like a seagull defense as well as birds of prey defense. And these little gaps, I was like, for ages I was like, what should I do to fill them out? In the end, I come up with this little display. It looks all right, and once everything's put together, it looks all right. But at the beginning, for me, I was like, does this look right? Does it look, I was very 50-50 about it. As well, we made a little path for the staff to get to the actual run as well, so they can do some cleaning. And I thought, I'll make this kind of nice plants around it, which we'll do a little bit later. Anyways, going on to the back house area. Originally, I was going to do it all the way around, and then I was like, kind of seems unnecessary for 4 Moros intrepidus. That's how many I decided is going to be putting inside of here, and I was like, it might be a little bit too much, so we made it a little bit smaller. Didn't do it as the whole run. And it looks kind of nice. And I was kind of deciding on the pattern there. I definitely wanted sand for the indoor house, very easy to clean. You can use a sieve to take any fecal matter out and things like that. I try and put some realism thinking into these builds. I want to put some trees in there, sort of they can hide around. So interesting to go under. I go to my Protoceratops enclosure, nick my little stone stamp, and make it just, a little bit rough up the environment, make it look interesting, and make all of it non-clip as as well, so the animals can walk through it. So it basically means the whole run is movable. Then I use a ton of different plants. A lot of the plants are actually around the actual zoo itself, as well as a few new ones just to make the enclosure look interesting, give them a few hiding spots to go and chill in. And these are like kind of places you could hide bits of food in for them to go and try and find. You know, that kind of enrichment rather than a food just being in a bowl there to pick at. They kind of got to forage for it, they got to find it, the little chunks of meat and things like that. Now getting them into this enclosure was a little bit of an effort in a sense. It was too small to airlift them in, so we had to guide them in. I had to put a fence on the inside of the run as well, just so that the ranger jeep had a way to bounce off rather than trying to send them past the structure, because they got kind of confused because they couldn't go through the fence. So it's like, yeah, I put that in there to stop it from bouncing and I was able to get them in, and then we just locked them in. Now I thought, you know, I'll give them a little tin roof, and then I had a little bit look later and I was like, yeah, it's pitch dark in there, we need some kind of like glass roofing on there so there's a little bit of light in there, so when you go to the window it's not just pitch darkness that you can see. Now this is the raised bed I was going on about that I started making. So it's simple wood. We used a few logs to make it look like it's got some supports, so it's not just floating there. As you know, I don't know how heavy these four little Morrises might be, but probably not enough to break it. But you know, you want it to be secure, you want it to be safe. Put a load of sand on top of there like it's been dragged up on there as well by the feet, so it looks like they actually do use the top of it. And I thought it'd be kind of interesting just so it wasn't just a plain empty room that had some stuff in there. And then there's the windows that we're adding in to make sure there is some sunlight so it isn't pitch black in there. But this build was so much fun. Like, I think I spent about an hour and a half, maybe a little less than an hour and a half, just going back and forth trying to figure out what things worked, what looked well, and I was really happy with the outcome of this. Like, this build is also going to be on my workshop as well, so if you type in PaleoPizza it will come up as Moros intrepidus enclosure. I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, what I called it. And we just decorated it on the outside with a load of plants as well, a few flag banners. I really hope at some point we get information signs for each dinosaur from this game. I don't know if I can see that actually happening, but it would be nice. I would love to have like decorative information signs showing off like what animals in here, a little bit of information about them. It would definitely make your parks feel more parky in that kind of sense. But yeah, this is the final product, and I'm so happy with it. If you want to add it to your parks, it's definitely going to be really good for one of those like fillers. If you got a bit of space you didn't know what to do with, you can kind of place it in there. But anyways, that's it for the Dino Dales today. Join me next week when we pick a new enclosure to build, and I still haven't decided on the animal yet. But anyways, till next time, I'll see you later.
What's your story?